So this is about a guy named Jonathan Tokley Perry, and he became a specialist in antiquities restoration. Right, he grew up poor in England, but ended up going to Cambridge and decided to like transform himself into effectively he's like Indiana Jones. Well, this guy's like, it'd be really awesome to own some of these antiquities that I get to handle. And so he goes over to Egypt and somehow gets connected with this builder who's very hard up for cash. It turns out to be this 3,000-year-old pharaoh sculpture. So he covers it, the whole thing, with plastic, and then covers it with plaster to make it look like a kitschy souvenir. He manages to get them to scratch in an area where he added extra plaster, whatever, gets it back, manages to melt it down, and sells that shit for $1 million. 1 million. So he's like, I can do this all day long. And so he starts going back and doing this over and over and over again. And eventually he's like, I'm going to get caught because I'm spending too much time flying back and forth with really kitschy things. Like, people are going to put it together. And so he's like, I need to find a mule to like help me. And he hires his landlord, which is weird. But the landlord immediately like gets thinking he can handle this on his own. Of course, he does not have the experience. He's a regular Joe. And so he ends up bringing back this like ancient papyrus. And he's like, I'm not sure if this is real or not. And he's trying to kind of screw over the guy who hired him. So he takes it to the British National Museum, have their antiquities people look at it to verify it or not. They immediately call the police. And so they put together that this guy Andrew, who's done a couple of runs, but like, this is a small tomatoes compared to the other guy. So it's not hard to tie the mule Andrew to Jonathan, the main guy, because it's his landlord. And so apparently they go over to Jonathan's place one evening and he's not at home. So the police like break into his house, and Jonathan rolls up and he notices that his window is broken, and he's like, have I been burgled? Like, who are you? Like, whatever. And they're like, we're the police. And he's like, oh, thank God. And they're like, no, you're under arrest.